Guys?
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the 2-0 Football Podcast. If I am not mistaken, this is actually, it could be an anniversary show. I think that this is show 53, which means that we're in our second year of podcasting here on YouTube Live, of course, and you can download this and the previous 52 other editions on iTunes. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are in the midst of a day where it was like a worldwide jornada doble. It was fantastic. There's been soccer on the entire day. It's one of those rare. That's the great thing about soccer is that it's worldwide, so you can literally watch soccer from 7 in the morning to midnight, and there's always going to be a game on. I don't know if there's any other sport, at least in the U.S., where you can do that. Thank you guys for joining us. I have a full panel of guests tonight. We're going to have a fantastic show. Everybody is present, which is great, and we're going to talk about the number one reason why Club America did not win last night. There's only one reason why they didn't win, and we'll get into that. We'll also talk about a prophecy that was made a few weeks ago that has come to pass. We'll discuss that as well. We will play some sad music for one of our panelists because his team has had a rough week. We'll talk about that as well. So, like I said, we have a full complement of show. Full complement of panel. It's going to be a good one here. Thank you for joining us. And again, feel free to contact us. You can call. We'll post it on the chat. And once we get that posted, we'll relay it on the air because, frankly, my brain is fried and I can't really remember too many numbers right now. So, without further ado, let's get on with it. We start out in Escondido. A man who is, I'm sure, watching this pod, well, keeping an eye on the podcast and keeping an eye on what's going on with his beloved Santos against Monterrey. Of course, I'm talking about Daniel Preciado. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, John. How's it going, everybody? Good evening. I'm not.
Well, thank you for joining us, Daniel.
I'm not watching the game right now. I'm outside in the car because I wouldn't be able to. Wouldn't really be.
That is the saddest thing I've ever heard, Daniel.
Yeah, dude, I can't participate on the show with the kids screaming. So
He's on timeout.
So you got to hop in the car.
Yeah.
So you're in a self auto. You have auto exiled yourself from the house.
Yes, I got permission. Me dieron permiso. Ya me pegaron.
Hall pass. Did you get a full hall pass or just a drive around hall pass?
Just drive around. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm on curfew. It's a school night.
Cheetah.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for making me join it. Well, I don't know what's going on.
I caught menudo, but a pleasure to be here, John.
That's all I heard too. Your boys put a whooping on us over the weekend, and we don't really have to talk about that, but we might. Of course, over in Kyle, Texas, was for you folks that don't know, Kyle is south, just south of Austin in Hayes County, beautiful Hayes County. Man who puts the show together, who does all the clicking and linking on the worldwide interwebs. I don't know how the dang thing works. All I know is that I talk and I peer. Of course, we're talking about Albert at Chiquiscampa. Albert, you are on a mission to get or La Guerra Fria up in Columbus. Hopefully, it works out for you.
Yeah, the Dios Acero. We got to witness it. And then the exile of Osorio.
Oh, so you're right. So you're going purely on as a
glutton for punishment.
I was about to say. So you're like a witness to the execution is what you're.
Yeah.
You're hoping to see. You know what I'm starting to think, and we'll talk about this in more detail a little bit later. But I'm thinking that if he's smart, he brings in everybody. The Dos Santos brothers, Vela, the whole thing, and just throws them out there and say, "Boys, sink or swim. Let's see what we can do." Of course, he won't, but that's what I would do. Anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later. Over in Arizona, watched his team not only lose to of all teams Querétaro to their former coach. He saw the another ignominious exit from the Conca Champions, this time at the hands of a Panamanian. First time ever a Panamanian team had ever eliminated a Mexican team. First time ever they'd ever won in Mexico. Panama, which is a country that has a population maybe a quarter of just the city of Monterrey, and utterly demolished Rayados in the Champions League. And you remember, Rayados is, I want to say they have the third or fourth highest payroll in the world. Huge upset. It was a rough week for you, Fernando. I'm sad that it was tough for you. We'll play a little sad music for you.
Thank you. By the way, I want to say thank you for having me again. And yeah, right now Rayados is beating Santos. Sorry, Dan, over 1-0 penal, and I'm enjoying. I just saw the replay of that
so
penal.
The tragedy is starting to set. It sounds like you're confident. You're thinking that Monterrey is going to win, which could only mean one thing, Fernando, that it's going to be a 2-1 or 3-1 Santos. And the humiliation will then be put. Of course, I'm talking up to Fernando Regino. Everybody, you guys might know him as Pern Dog.
Well,
it's great to have you back on the show, Fernando.
Thank you, and just so you know, they're not playing Santos. They're playing Chepos, exclusive team. So
the Chepo Santos.
Chepo Santos, yeah. So yeah, there's a big chance that Monterrey can still win it.
Well, we're on I'm just gonna say Santos is on a really red hot 1-game winning streak. So
that's right. They're like
scoring 3 hot goals. So
goals.
They just scored another one, so it's 2-0 right now. Well, there
you have it. Date from Fernando Regino. 2-0 Santos. Over in South Central, we have another panelist who's joining us this evening. A writer for this website and for Footmex Source, and also writes for Sports Illustrated, Time, Newsweek, and of course I'm talking about Joel Aceves. Joel, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jon.
Joel, did you get to watch any of your Chivas, or have you been on a Chivas deprivation?
I got to see Pulido's first league goal. So I saw the match against Toluca.
Was that not the coolest stadium they were playing in?
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, I think they were playing. I think that's the college's football stadium, if I'm not mistaken. It was it looked great on TV. It was we did have a prophecy weeks ago. I think it was after the America game, where one of our announcers, one of our esteemed colleagues, had said that Chivas would win only 3 points in their next 3 games, and the games were against Chiapas, Toluca, and Tigres. And when it ended up happening, Albert?
Yeah, it came true. They got the 3 points versus the weakest team in the whole Liga MX. And then they lost the next 2 to Toluca and Tigres.
Yes, they did. So your prophecy came true. And I think that you need to start letting us know what's going to happen later in the week, so that we can have our own little pool and maybe make a little money. If Mormonism allows you to gamble, but if it does, I think it's time for you to start.
Yeah, Joel was talking about it earlier. I actually think Chivas might do well in the next few games. I think they're on the verge of doing okay. They got, but that they might win. They might do well in the next 3, and then against Pachuca, they'll probably lose.
Speaking of Pachuca, we're honored to have a full panel tonight, which means that we have El Cambiarrayas on us with us tonight. You of course you know him as Juan Uribe, lifelong Chivas fan, has turned the colors of his stripes. Now a 100% full-throated Pachuca supporter. He is Tuso through and through. Juan, how are you, sir?
He just dropped off.
We had Juan. He dropped off.
Technical difficulties, maybe.
Oh.
He won't be insulted.
Wow. No, I mean he has accepted his moniker of the Cambiarrayas.
He's actually
Reyes
back
is back. Oh, see, I thought that we had insulted you. and you dropped off just as I was introducing you. But we're glad that you're back, Juan. We're talking
It sounds
to you.
like Juan is at one of the protests for BLM.
He went to Club Cheetah, and he's waiting for Dan to show up. Well, I guess we will.
Fascinating.
We will listen to Juan. But last but not least, a man who needs no introduction but gets one anyway, which of course we'll play right now. And who is la águila que llega? Of course, we're talking about Philadelphia's own Ronnie de Luna. Tied yesterday because the Bombero Luna was not on the side. What kind of management does Ricardo Peláez have when he fires a coach and doesn't bring on Juan Antonio Luna to be the? What happened there?
You know what? I think that Peláez got pressure from the top, which is rare. Which is rare because I don't believe that Azcárraga, tries to meddle, or I don't think he meddles. I don't think he's that like the Jerry Jones type. But it's interesting because I was reading an article from a buddy of mine, Rafa from Esto, and what's his name? Ambris basically gave an interview almost like the day of or like the day after to Esto, and talked a little bit about what happened. And on Monday when the team appeared, when the team went to practice and stuff like that, Peláez just wasn't sure of what the situation was going to be, and that just caught me off guard because I think the press, once the press turns on you, regardless of whether you're getting the team to function or you're getting the team in a different direction, I think it's a moot point. And I think the head honcho, I think he had a say in this, in changing the team around.
Personally, I was actually more upset with Peláez not bringing back the Bombero Luna as the interim. I could care less about Nacho. I mean, Nacho was going to get fired sooner or later. But I mean,
you know what?
I mean, the poor Bombero, I guarantee you, he's like, oh man, they just fired the coach. I'm going to get the call any minute. He probably canceled the vacation. He's probably going to go to Puerto Escondido and go surfing, and all of a sudden he doesn't get the call. And he's stuck with $2,000 in airline tickets. He's like, what am I going to do?
The last time Bombero Luna was at the coach, I think it's when they did the Maracanazo.
Exactly my point. He's a guy for like 2 weeks of solid results, and then he's like a Roman. He's like Roman, a couple of really good shots, and the last few are going to be duds. So. A constant interim. But you think it was back to serious talk? You think it was pressure from the top? I mean, America wasn't doing that bad. I mean, they had a couple. They lost 2 games. To their bitter rivals 3-0, and the other one 2-0 by the Martinez family. So I'm sure that the psychological damage was done. I mean, 5 goals, especially at home.
Well, yeah, I mean, shit.
That's tough for any team to take.
3 goals against Tigres, 3 against Chivas, 3 against Cruz Azul, 2 against León. I've been saying it, that the defense is shaky, and part of it, yes, it's the responsibility of Nacho to get the team functioning together. But I've also said that Nacho was never given the opportunity to build his team. And
right, he's just trying to figure out what he's got.
Yeah, so I feel for him because I don't think he was a bad coach, given the team. Because I mean, honestly, and I know that we've said this for 2 seasons before. America, with the problems with the red cards and the bookings and stuff like that.
Sorry, wrong time.
Sorry. I don't.
That one's
I don't
still
think
more uplifting, though, John.
I don't think he ever really controlled the team. I don't think so.
Well, the one thing that I was wondering is, I mean, these guys have known each other for 30 years because they were teammates on Necaxa. They had a ton of success. I mean, that couldn't have been easy for him.
No, and I think Pelais, honestly think that Pelais wanted to keep him because I mean even in the interview with with Esto, Ambris was very he was sad, but he was also very grateful to Pelais.
It's funny because now people are saying that Pelaez needs to go. It's like Pelaez doesn't need to go anywhere.
No, come on, that would be stupid. That would be really stupid. Pelais has done a good job.
Yeah, I mean he's brought. I mean, America was in terrible shape for what 10 years, and then he comes in and I mean they were instantly better when he came in, and they've been a Liga fixture. They've won. They make deep runs, and they're always in the thick of it. For I mean, if that's not enough, then what is enough? I mean, no team can.
Would you say they've done it on the
season.
cheap as well, on some level?
Well, you know what, Dan, I think that adding to what John said, they win spectacularly or they lose spectacularly. You know what I mean?
I just think that the one thing that's lacking, because, and I don't know if it's Pelaz purposely not going for a big name or if it's, the people above him not willing to invest that kind of money. I'm just curious why that is.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, Dan, because from what I've been reading and from what I've been hearing about the money issue is that with the TV wars going on and going out on their own and Chivas going with TV, I've and honestly I don't know how true this is because obviously these numbers aren't really public, but I've heard through the grapevine that Televisa is hurting financially in the sense that they're not dishing out what they used to, and obviously the Olympics they didn't really make all that much during the Olympics. I'm wondering if the money's going to get it's going to get reduced in America, which it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
So you're saying there's no more money to pay the refs? Is that what you're saying?
No. There's always money for that, dude. There's always money for that.
Well,
They're cheap.
the way I saw that Pelaz built his team was that it wasn't. I mean, I don't necessarily think that he was cheap. I just think he was shrewd. Instead of ants on a big money guy that may or may not work out in Liga MX, you don't know. He got guys that were proven Liga MX players, whether they were foreign or domestic.
Yeah.
Now I think that and then his last run of guys that he brought in, I think that's where I think that there's been maybe there has the moves haven't been as solid, but the striker he brought in has been scoring goals. But Ronnie's right though. I mean, you can score 2 goals, and if you're giving up 4, it's a problem. And I look at a player like Paul Aguilar, and he has been he's been a little stinker. He just hasn't been good. And for a team that's based, that has an attacking style like that, you can't have your wingbacks playing badly, and that's exactly what's happening. At least as far as the defense is concerned. But it is interesting, Ronnie, that you're saying that the revenues aren't. But obviously they're even less because they have a couple of the teams that aren't. Obviously, a team like Chivas that it was. Which frankly, I never understood. How on earth could Chivas pay like just give money to their competitor? Here's some money. Put me on TV.
It was a win-win, though. It was
For who?
For both for Televisa and for Chivas because they were making good money. The promotora, back in the Super Chivas days, back in '97, the dude Martinez said that back then they had a salary of 25 million. 25 million, dude. And this is this is going back to 95, 96, 97. That is a lot of money back in the day. And keep in mind,
No, that is quite a bit of money. That's like almost 1/8 of Monterrey's payroll right now.
and to keep things in perspective, I think what back then the peso and the dollar were not wasn't all that bad.
It was like 12-1 or.
No. I think it was.
By the way, you know what it is now. You know what it is. I read it.
19,
it's 21,
19 to, it's like 19-1 right now.
But that really is right. That's 19,000 to 1. Remember, they took 3.
Yeah. But and back then in those days, the promotora they had and they said it was 25 million US dollars, and promotora was basically kind of like just a management company because they didn't own the company. They didn't own Chivas. So I mean, obviously they had their cut, and some of it, a lot of that money had to go to back to the socios. But I mean, for the promotora to be dishing out 25 million on players back in those days, I said, dude, that's a lot. So I don't. Televisa obviously doesn't divulge this information as to how much each club gets. But you can deduce.
They don't mention it in the newsletter.
No. Believe it or not, I've actually even looked. I've even like back when Corona, Grupo Modelo had
Is
Santos
Televisa
like
public or private?
They're on the Mexican exchange. They're on the Mexican exchange. But the thing about it is they have their filings, and you can check filings, and you can check revenues, and you can check losses. But as far as like the departments, I've actually back when I was in college, when I was an undergrad, I actually downloaded the filings for like Grupo Modelo, Grupo Televisa, because I was trying to see what they were playing or how much they were getting paid from from their football operations, but it never specified. So I'd like to see that, but from what
it's they have the number they file, the number they tell their friends, and the real number.
Yeah. I want to add to what Ronnie said. If you're on TV, there's the obvious. You get more for sponsorship.
Yeah.
So I mean, and right now Chivas doesn't have.
What if you're on Chivas TV?
Well, it depends depends how many viewers you're seeing.
They were on. I saw on Univision that called out some Tigres fans that drove to Laredo just so they could watch the game on TV because they didn't want to pay for Chivas TV. So I'm willing to bet, Joel, that last night Chivas TV either had their best or their second best night because of the fans from the other team that wanted to watch.
Which I don't know what category Tigres is. Chivas put teams in 3 categories, so I don't.
That's right. They have the popularity scale.
Tigres must be up there. I think it's just Tigres in America. I don't see any other teams.
The Guapa teams at the bottom, and then like the ones that
Monterrey didn't make the cut.
Right. I won't wear a bag over my head when I walk out of your place the next day. The super hotties.
But what Ronnie's saying, that's where a lot of the money was coming from too, from the sponsorship. So
well, I understand that. My point is, if there's a competitor, there's Azteca. I mean, why would you give money to your bitter rival? Why would you just hand them a check? I mean, there's other TV networks. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I think because probably package deal with Televisa, just more reach. They probably help him get deals in the U.S. with Univision.
That is true. And Televisa has, I don't know if y'all ever been to Miami, but they have, like, just outside the airport, this huge studio, massive building. Televisa has in Miami. It is just this, it's like the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where they're putting the Ark in and the archive at the end, just this colossal warehouse. It is, so Joel, you got to watch your Chivas. You saw Pulido score. Have you started combing your hair?
No.
In solidarity for him? No.
I'm still not impressed. Which I'm becoming an outsider, Yon. A lot of my
or with
no,
with
sir,
Pulido.
no. Pulido's just getting started. With the club. I see a lot of fans, and they're already. Some of them earlier after the Clásico were already, singing praises.
They're already buying the silver polish for the trophy.
Pretty much, yeah. And I've been like, Chivas been very inconsistent. I haven't seen the team maintain consistency.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have a cambiarrayas? Do you think that Juan would be one of those guys that would be buying the polish and the buffer and getting it ready to go for the trophy?
No, he's
or is he a realist like you?
No, he's more of a loyal. He's loyal to Almeida. He's with Almeida to the end.
Yeah. Do you have you fallen head over heels for Almeida? Did his melena? Is that where he had you?
No, I think Chivas needed a coach that's a proven winner. That you need a coach that's gonna come and win titles. The whole thing about. I think they did a good job with the PR, with the whole making the team seem like it was doing pretty bad, and the team was coming out of semifinals and cup, and then they eventually won the cup.
Excuse me. My Pumas just scored. Sorry.
Oh, but
it's win the show by watching a Pumas game.
That's yeah. Yeah, no. So
you're still not sold. They've given you the presentation, and you're looking at them like, is that all you got?
Well, yeah, because this team, if your team makes the semifinals, then you expect them to maintain a level of consistency, and then to not be able to make it to the liguilla, and then to invest a lot of more money, and then still not until they equal that or surpass it. I'm not buying into this whole charade of.
Well, it's funny. People always want to claim that Higuera has made all these great moves. They brought all these players in, but all the players that he's brought in are on the bench.
They're calling. The media has been saying that Chivas has the most expensive banca in Liga MX
history. Well, it can't be as expensive as Monterrey. Monterrey has like $100 million on the bench because they have like $400 million playing on the field.
Man.
So the fact that they lose the way they do, I mean, it's. You know what it's like? It's like if Paris Saint-Germain played like a third division French team and lost.
Yeah.
But as far as the disparity in pay, yeah, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. No one here anymore. Why isn't there Fernando?
It must be because Monterrey is up 3-0.
Oh, are they?
And I was hoping for a Santos win.
Hey, John, can you play the clip of Don Ramon?
Absolutely. Champions of all time.
Santos just scored. They're coming back. It's going to be a humiliation.
Here it comes.
Oh.
So, Chivas is that what you saw as well, Albert? That you, even after they beat America 3-0 at the Azteca, the inevitable slide for Nacho Ambriz for what happened to him, which was he was ignominiously fired, and that kind of set the stage for that. It's bad enough losing, but to lose to your rival 3-0 with the eyes of the world watching, and then of course
I think the tactics that Chivas is playing, and it's not necessarily, well, I guess you could credit Almeida to a little bit, but it's the players that are just hustling and running like crazy. They're in the first part of the game, and it just stifled America. and they've been doing it well in the next 3 games or the next 2 games as well, or 3 actually. And actually in the first half of the Tigres game, they were doing okay. They were attacking, but Tigres, they were defending and bunkering, if you want to call it that. And they eventually wore down Chivas. And that's the problem, I think, with their tactics is they just run like crazy, pressure and press, and then towards the end of the first half and then second half, they just couldn't maintain it. But I'm actually have high hopes for Chivas if they continue to do the sort of play the way they're playing. If they can just finish a little bit better and maintain their intensity throughout the whole game.
If they start finishing better because of Pulido, and you become a Chivas, are you going to cut your hair in the style of Alan Pulido?
Yeah, man, I'll just get some gel, stick it on there. Oh, one note though of interest. I know that you'll be really interested. Is apparently he broke up with that girl of his. So no more Instagram pictures,
Oh, sad. That is unfortunate.
According to Chiquis, though, this will allow him to concentrate on the sporting aspect
instead of posting Instagram pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have is Cambiarrayas back with us or left up? Damn, not working. Well, I suppose you could chat, but we were bashing his Chivas, the way he handles Chivas pretty hard. We'll have to let's see if he can get back on to respond. So I guess the schedule gets easier then for Chivas, and that's where you think that they can make their move. Because honestly, all they need to do is get in the top 8. That's the reality of Liga MX is you just have to get into the top 8, and then the real season starts, and that's when the games get good.
Yeah, they got Veracruz.
That's when the games have meaning.
And Puebla next.
So it sounds like they'll be giving those games away on Chivas TV because everyone's going to be internet down to watch the Chivas Puebla game.
That's discounted. Then they got Pachuca and Cruz Azul.
Yes, Pachuca. Maybe Juan can hop on and can tell us a little bit more about what's going on with Pachuca because they have started to play well again. They know that they got their guys back in full strength or so after the Olympics, and they just put a whooping on Morelia. They beat them with 5-1, and it sounds like the Chucky train is starting to gather some steam. People are starting to notice again. The dude does score goals. I know that a lot of you think that the goal apparently is 4 meters wider and 10 meters taller when he plays with Pachuca than he does when he plays with other teams. Understandable, I guess.
The tap in though, I think.
But, so are they the team to beat still? Chiquis?
Yeah, I think so because Tigres just sort of stayed consistent. They weren't impressive at the beginning, but yeah, I think Pachuca and Tigres are looking good. Chucky hasn't convinced. He really went down from national team play, and his goal during the Morelia game was like a run tap in type of goal. So I was impressed. I didn't see the game, so I didn't know how else he played throughout the field and everything, but that goal wasn't too great. I'm not convinced of him, but his teammates are bringing everything up. I think.
Do goals have to be pretty? Do goals have to be? But that's what he has to concentrate on. He has to concentrate on just scoring them however it happens.
Yeah, and his all-around other plays could have been great. I didn't see the game, but it seems like his teammates did it up. Gutierrez was playing good. He scored some golazos, or I forget who else scored the other goals, but.
They're definitely a solid team, and obviously Tigres is a solid team. America is gonna, they'll once who will coach them, and I cannot believe coach. That really. How many teams would that be for him? See, he can add another, one more team, and he gets a free sandwich. It's not. That would just be awful. You're going to fire somebody, bring in somebody that has, has a personality.
Well, the time that they're taking, it seems like they're going after somebody potentially big. I don't know if Ronnie or anyone else knows. They haven't.
Supposedly, they've been interviewing a lot of candidates where they're listening to their, to their ideas. Hugo Sanchez was one of them.
Yeah, maybe.
That would crack me up.
I haven't heard Bielsa. I don't know if that's probably just bollocks, but
Bielsa though is
well, he's coached there before, hasn't he?
Yeah, but the way Bielsa works, you pretty much have to hand him complete control of the whole team. He demands up to 5-6 cambios. It's you basically have to do a long proceso with Bielsa, and his track record, he's probably not even gonna finish it.
Right.
Yeah, and then he leaves. So I mean, it's a big gamble with Bielsa. I could see a smaller club doing it because you can benefit, and then you could just bring someone in his mold to finish the job. But if you're America, they have a good track record recently of winning or just competing to win.
Yep, they do. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we go.
You just need someone that's in line with sort of what Pelaez has had planned. If you look at pretty much every coach he's brought in has won something.
Hey, that's similar to
that's
similar to Vergara's one, dude. Every coach he's brought in pretty much has won something now. I don't know if you guys can hear this.
Are you kidding?
You mean all 14 coaches have won something?
They won a big payoff, dude, when they get fired.
They get their buyout. That's what they win.
Get what, a 6-pack of Chua Cola?
Do you think what would that say about your reputation as an employer when if you are interviewing a coach and it's how much is your buyout?
Dude, I hope it's good, man, because maybe one day I'll be coaching Chivas and get a buyout from Vergara.
Juan, if you were a Chivas fan, and I pose this question to
well, I'm a professional. Remember, John, I'm a professional. I don't show favorites.
I understand.
No favoritism.
I'm speaking hypothetically. Of course. Would you be the Chivas fan that was like over the moon, optimistic? Here we go. Excuse me.
You found it
after being in America, and to the point where you're looking at you're starting to dust off the dust bunnies and all the lint balls out of the trophy case because you're making room for another one, or are you a realist? Did you say, you know what, they won, but we got to keep our feet on the ground, the head on the clouds. We got work to do. If you were a fan.
You know what, John? You make a good point. If I were a fan, I would definitely be the second type of fan, the one you mentioned, where it's like, all right, where the things are going well, but like, hey, let's keep working. Let's just keep trucking along. I mean, it's always nice to prepare, to plan ahead. So definitely, I would put in the new order. I would put in the order for the new trophy case, so that way, once the trophy comes, I'd have it ready. But I think I would tell these guys, hey, it's the same way Almeida handled the trophies. What did he tell them? Hey, all of Mexico was hyping him up. Even Jolie was like, hey, this guy's like the Mexican Messi, if I remember correctly. And Almeida was like, hey, wait a minute, guys, calm down. Trophies, he's played like 10 minutes, like 2 minutes per game. Let him work his butt off. Let him show.
And he handles the number 10.
It's interesting because Joel, when you were off, said that you would be the exact opposite of what you just said.
Oh,
he said that not only would you buy the silver pocket,
well enough, man.
Buy the buffing cloth that you were all ready to start celebrating, and you were.
Look, man.
The exact.
I can tell you, John. I can tell you that when we've been on the podcast, that there's only one guy that's got that emery cloth. The one to pulir San Fierro, and the rumor has it. I don't want to say who it is, but that person's name rhymes with Joel.
Oh.
Unidos y divididos por el amor a la camiseta.
Esto es Chiva contra Chiva.
John, I think before we, when you mentioned something about Club America, my headset wasn't working. But I just want to put it on the record, and I think Jolie agrees with me on this.
Wait. Let me get the record out. Let me get the record out. All right. I got the record. All right, go ahead. I got it out. I'm ready for the record.
Let the record show that America, the reason their fans don't come around is they're embarrassed, dude. They're embarrassed about that Pro de 85 title, where all the other clubs, they fielded their youth players, and then these guys came in with their first team, to win it. And then at first it wasn't going to be an official title. Then at the end they changed it because it was embarrassing for the organization, because Chivas and I think Cruz Azul had surpassed them in titles. So I think that's the real reason Club America fans aren't coming around. So what we're gonna see here in LA, and I'm sure Jolie probably has noticed this, is now Cholos has a bigger fan base in LA
than America. Not
than America.
Chivas' fan base is still still pretty strong.
I think it's Jolie's probably right. The fan bases they fluctuate. Like you saw that guy Jolie posted it in the chat where that guy was from a Cruz Azul fan, like Beto. I think he also practiced jiu-jitsu. So I'm starting to wonder if it actually was Beto. I'm sorry, Beto, I'm exposing you now, but and then this guy's
now
talking
about the guy that was trying to burn Cruz Azul's shirt in effigy and a slow smolder.
It's another guy.
Oh, it's another guy.
He switched jerseys. He puts on the Chivas jersey, and that was before their two-game losing streak.
So that is that the reason why?
He actually tweeted it like, "Hey, Chivas, make room! I'm coming in."
Man, so Chivas just got a Cruz Azulada injection.
Brought some of that bad mojo over.
Man.
No, but it's interesting what
we got enough bad mojo. We don't need y'all's bad mojo.
But what Juan is saying about Cholos, because the whole thing, you could go see them. You could go to Tijuana. It's not that far, so it's always good, watching it live. And that's where I think.
Tijuana to go see a game?
I haven't. It's just I have not, sir.
I've been meaning to go, John, but every time I head down there, Jolie told me about this place. It's called La Cueva del Peludo. I'm not exactly sure what they do there, but I think I'm gonna visit that gift shop first, because Jolie really recommends it.
It's been years. It's been years. It might not be what it used to be.
Advice, gentleman who is border towns.
Much like Rita's, it might not be what it used to be.
The quality.
What really ticked me off about the time I was at Rita's was they had this. It was full of chapines. The game was on ESPN2. It's like, guys, you gotta just watch this at the house. My Mexico versus Panama game on a 9-inch black and white TV above the bar. It was rough. So just to both of you that for Chivas fans to react as well, honestly, as Chivas fans do, by overreacting. Just let them patience. Must have patience.
I mean, look, when the De La Torres left, there was a certain section of fans that they were calling, "Hey, this is the end. This is the Titanic sinking." And
I'm still there.
Jolie's still there, but you know what? The team's they're not in a relegation battle anymore. They have some stability as far as management for the moment. Now everybody knows Vergara. So his history precedes him, his reputation. So we know. I mean, basically what Jolie's saying is at any moment Vergara's gonna do what Vergara always does, which is
fire the coach.
Yeah, and wreck the on everything. Wreck the team.
He's gonna have to fire the CEO first. The CEO of you have to wonder why the CEO of OmniLife is running the Chivas club.
You know what?
Base Higuera, you mean?
Yes.
I think he. You know what, Jolie? I know that you personally do not. And I've heard the players, they don't like him either. They don't like Higuera because he's kind of self-aggrandizing and he's trying to make himself, put his name out there. But I think the byproduct of it is that he's actually doing good deals for Chivas, bringing in players in their prime, quality players, national team players.
On the bench.
You know what? They gotta. I mean, it's a. They gotta earn their keep if the.
But see at what price? And you're talking about a team that hasn't been able to pay off their stadium, so they still owe the stadium. Not that many people are going to the stadium.
But this guy's a banker, right?
He's a banker, so. Yeah, he's in but they lost stadium sponsorship. So not even OmniLife has money to put their name on the stadium.
They don't have a T-shirt sponsor. They don't even have a sponsor on their left ass.
He started at the bottom. Now he's here, man. You gotta realize that they went from being in relegation. He got rid of Trash Chepo, which right now is getting destroyed 3-1 in his own home in Santos.
That's where Fernando. That's where Jolie's gonna pull away from you if you just start trashing Chepo. I think those,
I'm just saying that he got rid of the trash, de la Torres,
John.
And now they're doing much better. Like Danny said,
but the issue right now is monetary. So let's not.
But
let's not step out of the pot.
I think if you're a fan of any team, I think you shouldn't worry about the finances. Because the teams are privately owned.
But see, you see what happened. But you see what's happening in Spain and in England, where you end up having foreign owners.
And that could still happen with Chivas because it's a privately, it went from being whatever it was before to being privately owned now. Ronnie's always questioned that transaction. But I don't think it's the case where, like in Spain, the members, they own the club and they vote on who runs the club, like in Barcelona and those clubs. This club, it went from being whatever it was before, like a public corporation, was that Asociación Civil to Sociedad Anónima now. Now, Ronnie has some questions on that, how that transition happened. And I'm sure
I don't have any questions. I have facts and I have proof.
You have answers.
Oh.
Exactly. So
okay, so, it is.
So, but hold on, Ronnie. Before you dive in their head first. So the point is that you shouldn't worry about their finances. What you should worry about is what the team looks like and whether you're going to support them or not. And
I wish I could have that same stance with my wife. Oh yeah, don't worry about the finances, Eddie. Trust me. Just
don't
trust
worry about
me,
where the money comes from or where it goes.
Yeah.
Just give her the credit card.
Don't ask me about my business.
Exactly. Don't ask me about my business. But Ronnie's gonna butt in now. Ronnie,
as you were saying, Ronnie,
throw the.
You were gonna bring the.
No. You guys were talking about like don't be asking about my business, like that Leonard Skinner song. Don't ask me no questions, and I'll tell you no lies.
Exactly.
So, no, but anyhow about that, I don't question. I don't question. I know it. It's public record. These guys, by the civil code of Jalisco, those guys were supposed to basically liquidate all their assets, pay whatever debts they outstanding debts that they had, and then it had to go public. But it's a long story. I had it in the forums, but they've lost. The old Chivas owners, they've won in court 3 times. But Vergara was sneaky. He started Chivas de Corazón SADCB, and he just basically duped everybody.
And what does he have to show for it?
Nothing really.
Exactly.
Well, he owns the club, right?
They might as well just sell him and move him to Cancun.
the whole thing is like you seem fine with people whoring out the team because that's pretty much what they're doing. And with if you see the history of OmniLife, how Angelica came into the picture, it was basically because the company was going bankrupt. So she ended
I'm
up.
surprised Juan hasn't started offering us OmniLife drink.
You know what?
Wait,
I
wait,
don't see how that company makes money.
It's
Wait,
a
let me
futile
finish.
exercise. It's a futile exercise, Jolie. Like, what can you do?
Wait,
Are
well,
you
hold
gonna
on. She put
organize
money
a
with just a.
petition?
Wait, we
Hey.
can't forget though. Well, we can't forget that she ended up owning. That was part of the reason she ended up owning half of the club and half of the OmniLife.
And then they
So, I
threw
mean,
her out,
she's
didn't they?
yeah, she was stealing funds, but she's
Not
still
yet.
tied to that. She's still tied to it. So I mean, now you got
This is final.
yeah, you got this guy that's come in and they spend what close to 50 million now, something like that. So I mean,
Their payroll is about that, and it's like 1/3 of what Monterrey's payroll is.
The thing is, Jolie, I think the only thing you can do is enjoy the ride because, you know, the way clubs in Mexico are run is, for example, Jolie, if he's not happy with the way Club America's didn't give Nacho Ambriz a chance, there's really nothing he can do as a fan other than not watch the games. But I mean, they don't really
no,
care.
but that's not a good because Televisa is not dependent on America, and America could be run independently from Televisa. As per like right now, Chivas like they have OmniLife who's pretty much dependent on Chivas. So it's like why were they sold installations? Why they lose their plane?
Well, if you don't mind, I have to interrupt you for a very brief minute.
Oh, go on.
They scored. Funny.
I have to watch it on standard definition. I'm sorry, as you were saying, Juan, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I mean ultimately you want the club to be for the people. Not it ends up being owned by outside.
But the people can't afford to buy a club in this day and age. Even
you know what?
There's been a couple experiments.
You know what? That's not true. Juan. I posted a video. There's a really good documentary. They're called United of Manchester or something like that.
So it was these fans. When the Glazers came in and bought Manchester United, they started FC United of Manchester.
Yeah, they just built a stadium, man.
Yeah, they just opened ground on a small stadium. I think like a year ago. I've been following them because it's
and they're like in third division, man.
They've been moving up, but they're
Dude,
you know.
Do you
English
remember?
football has I think 12 tiers, so they've slowly been moving up the tiers, and I think
at one point we had two Veracruz teams. If hardcore Chivas fans wanted, they could do a second Chivas team, go back to Jalisco, and people would stop following.
That's why I really thought that
North Jolie.
What?
was gonna be really good for the city of Guadalajara because they're a very popular team, and I thought that if they were able to maintain any kind of success while they were in first division, they were gonna be a real problem for Chivas because of the fact that the university, the second largest university in Mexico, like second only to UNAM, they have a gigantic fan base, as big a fan base as anybody has in the country. And so I was really hoping that they would, at least catch fire and stay on a bit, just to kind of light a fire under Chivas' ass to realize that, hey, you know what, we've got this golden goose here, and we've done nothing but starve it over the past, I don't know, 10, 11 years.
Yeah, no,
we're about to get.
So they're in fifth division. FC United of Manchester. They're in fifth division. It's called the National League North, and they're currently in 13th place in that. So it doesn't look like they'll be promoted this year. But I mean, season's early.
You know what would be great? A great movie would be to have this movie and then have them meet Manchester United in like a round of the FA Cup, and then they beat them.
I think they were close to playing each other one time. But yeah, I think there's a club also in Spain that the fans, that one that was broke. What's it called?
Which one?
True. Good point.
America.
No, in
Which
Spain.
one of the many?
Well, the thing is, but the America fans, they're actually they're Romanos. Remember? I can't remember. It was one they raised money by selling shares of the club to fans, and maybe it was like Elche or whatever.
Did they have a car wash?
They have a car wash.
Or did they start a GoFundMe page?
GoFundMe.
Nobody did do. Maybe start a GoFundMe page to start your own Chivas team.
Juwan is saying that it doesn't matter, like with the whole spending spree and funding, but we're seeing the effects as the team is beginning to price out. It's beginning to price out its own fans.
Well, that's why Chivas is doing fantastic. They're still doing it with what they can. They're not pricing out fans.
No, actually, they lost. They've been down in ratings. That's not doing fantastic.
Man, it would be you that we supporting everything that Higuera and Vergara be doing, because they're revolutionizing the Mexican soccer, with their own channel.
How are they? What are they? Are they playing with like a different ball? Are they playing with only 10 guys? How are they revolutionizing anything?
Dude, that venture with their own channel, it's amazing that they actually went for that. And if you think about it, that's taking away the stronghold from the two televisoras. That's right there.
They weren't the first team. Monterrey did this years ago, and when Monterrey saw how much money there was, and they came crawling back, which is exactly what Chivas is going to do.
And that's
I wonder if Chivas revenue has really gone down, or has it actually gone up?
No, it's gone down. Juan, if you're a sponsor,
I know with the new the way the TV the way the shirt deals, just the jersey deals work. It's like they get a lot more money just from the jersey sponsors. So I think I don't think the revenue is necessarily going down.
Yeah, but they with Pumas as opposed to Adidas or Nike.
Do you have some numbers to back you up that the revenue is down? Because I think you're just talking out of hate.
Okay, look. Look,
well, he's extrapolating based on I guess the alleged viewership, which we really don't have the numbers, because the clubs they don't release this information. That's the thing. So it's all kind of like you're kind of extrapolating based on
if you're a sponsor, you get
money when they don't release the numbers. That's what I'm getting.
No, because they do release the numbers for how many people have been watching online. And it's nowhere near people watching TV. So if you're a sponsor and you're going to put your brand on Chivas shirt or on the stadium.
Let me ask you a question.
Well, let me just...
That number that they release, real quick, the number that they release, is it the same kind of number that the MLS announces for attendance?
They could be using that. They could be using that playbook there.
The thing is, Jolie, they might actually be getting more money now, because the way their viewership is set up is the money is going directly to the club. So even though they only got, let's say hypothetically they got 300K viewers, these are hardcore Chivas fans that are willing to spend money. So if you market something, Chivas product to them, or something tangential they're probably more willing to spend the money than if they're like on Televisa and they're being broadcast across the country, because most people see those commercials and
ultimately, the money's on TV and in sponsorship. If not, you would have seen already American teams doing that here in the U.S. where you make more money off of that.
Okay, boxing. Look at boxing. Look at UFC.
But boxing is one event every 6 months.
Well, you know what? Let's just look at the lack of reference where Jotoel here is trying to make an argument about.
Juan, you mentioned boxing, but the thing about it is the fact that they're doing pay-per-views is actually hurting. It's hurting them, because if you think about it,
the boxing.
What's that?
Boxing's hurting because of the product. Because there's no big time boxers now.
No.
You have brands like Canelo.
No, but forget about that. But forget about that. The reason, one of the main reasons that boxing is hurting is because if you think about it, if you can watch the World Series basically for free. You can watch the NFL, the Super Bowl for free. You can watch the NBA Finals for free. You can watch. In fact, even a lot of UFC fights you can watch for free. Prize fighting, almost a lot of stuff for free. NBA,
but don't now. Hold on, Ronnie. Now all those organizations they also offer a subscription service. NBA has the NBA season pass. NFL has their season pass. You can buy on.
But that's to watch out of market games.
Yeah, exactly. That's to watch out of market teams. Now the thing about it is, you can't really use boxing as an example for this because boxing's hurting and there's going to be a point where MMA is going to.
Well, they've
MMA
already
offers a lot of stuff. Well,
MMA's taking them over basically.
No, because even the prize money for boxing and MMA is still not even. You still can't compare it. But
the thing is, Ronnie,
how much was that
Canelo fight? Boxing is that they don't have a good product anymore.
What's that?
How much was the Canelo fight?
What's hurting boxing is that they don't have a good product anymore. I mean, like 20 years ago, like you could look forward to big fights. You had maybe even like 25 years ago, you had Cesar Chavez. He could fight Maromero Pais. He could fight all these boxers. I can't even remember their names anymore. Hopkins, Bernard Hopkins. He had several fighters.
Who did you say? Who did you say? Who did you say? El Firulais? What?
That's what we used to call my dog.
El Firulais. El Firulais.
Isn't a good.
Did any of y'all buy the Canelo fight?
Pernell Whitaker. There was these big fights like Mike Tyson. You had Holyfield. You still had what's the other guy's name?
First
George
Tyson
Foreman. Even
fight was easily the best boxing match I ever saw in my life.
Which one?
Those guys slugged each other for.
Yeah, but this isn't a
good 12 rounds.
Boxing and MMA isn't really a good comparison to Chivas because they're big events every 3 or 6 months.
No, the UFC does more. No, don't they do one per month?
Well, pay-per-view. Okay, so pay-per-views. Let's take UFC. Pay-per-views are once or maybe even twice.
And how much do they cost, Chiquis?
They're like $50, $60. But they do have, like Ronnie was saying, they do have stuff on Fox. They do have shows on FS1. They do have a Fight Pass, which is the online Chivas TV equivalent. And so they have these other options, but they always have the network, which is Fox, and the pay-per-view. Where Chivas is just, it's not like a once in a month or once in a twice a month big event.
It's twice a month.
It's once a week. Who's going to pay once?
No, Chivas TV is every other week.
It's only the home games.
Yeah, it's only the home games.
Every other week. That's still too often, and it's for like a small event, which is like a single game. And for that to be your only avenue of viewing Chivas is not doable.
But it's not.
How much does a game average on Chivas TV? Let's do some math here. How much does it average? What is one game?
They put the games up for free after a certain point.
Tell me how much it is. How much is one game? What does it average for one game?
I think you got to be in Mexico to be able to
well, whatever it is. What is it like? Let's say it's $10.
Pesos, 125 pesos.
Oh wait, man.
So it comes out to like $5. 125 pesos mexicanos. Comprar like I'm on their page Chivas TV. Chivas Monarcas.
Is that monthly or is that per game?
That's per game. This is this game. But they got monthly
game with like the American games for 300. So on average, let's say it's 150 pesos, which
50 pesos mensuales, and you can get like a tape delay. You can watch it 2 hours later.
Dude, are you gonna sell me some Omi Life too?
Home games. The home games.
Okay, so let's say on average it's about $10. So how many are they saying they're bringing in, Joel? About 100,000 per.
Yeah, that was the last.
Hey, Juan, how many bushels of cabbage do you have to pick to get?
You know what, dude? I actually when I went on vacation in Mexico, I have some grandparents in Sinaloa. I did pick tomatoes, man, but I don't remember.
TV.
Nah, man, they didn't even have running water, dude. There's like a hole in the ground for the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the Chivas fan base, and that's.
But they got internet now, man. They got internet now because those guys they're on Facebook. They're posting all their updates, and it's crazy, man.
And Facebook.
Yeah, but I know they got internet because they post on Facebook like every day.
are posting to Facebook and streaming a video.
How do you spell Facebook? F-A-E-S-B-U-K.
Palface. F-E-I-S.
Okay, so let's say if it's averaging $10 and then 100,000, that means that they're making 10 million Chivas TV gain.
Was that pesos or dollars?
Dollars.
Pesos?
$10 million.
$10 million.
$10 bucks. Yeah, $10 million, and they're going to do this maybe 9 times, depending on if they get the extra home game. So, according to them, they're going to make $170 million because they're averaging 100,000, right? 100,000, and it's an average about $10. So that over the course of the season, that's $170 million that they're bringing in. Is that math right?
Yeah, I mean, if Jolie does with Jolie's numbers, and
those are my numbers, dude. Those are the reported numbers.
But that's the numbers that he's feeding to us.
Okay, so what's the reality for Chivas? How much do you really? Maybe they're bringing in about half that.
Yeah.
Over the course of the season, they might make $100 million on their venture.
If they make $100 million, and now is it a success? Is it a failure? Is that what they were getting per season?
That depends. That depends. How much was their? Let's say we don't know how much their TV contract was because we don't know. They don't ever make those numbers public.
Yeah, I mean, what's the average? What, like 30 million for a team?
Which goes back to the point that Jotol has no idea what he's talking about. That they're losing money because they don't release those numbers.
I think what Jolie's point is that now they're being elitist because not everybody can afford to watch them, but I think now I can agree with that, but I don't think it's a bad business move from the business perspective to make the team a competitive team within the league. I mean, look, they just broke the record for a transfer fee for
Juan.
any Mexican within the league. So
yeah, but that the number that they had to pay for the transfer fee was a shakedown. That wasn't for the player.
Hey, Juan.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So are you trying to say that Chivas is trying to get the undesirables out by raising the prices?
No. You're going on. I'm just saying they're looking at it to make money. It's like I mean, like, well, you're in the food industry, like the helpful Honda people giving away tacos. That can hurt your bottom line, right?
No, well, here's the thing.
You'd rather they sold more expensive.
Well, I mean, all right, Juan, wait, hold on, guys. This is from Universal newspaper. So it says, according to Jose Luis Higuera, CEO of OmniLife. So this is for Chivas match against Monterrey. 120,000 people streamed it, and they're comparing it to America's game, who they had 10 million viewers on TV.
Well, if 120 million people or 120,000 people streamed it, that means they made $12 million.
Damn.
And the thing is that America, from those 10 million viewers, they probably got like a nickel per viewer. So,
but here's the
from
thing,
a business perspective, I think Chivas is making the right moves. Now, obviously, they're because the history of the team is being a team of the people, which is kind of what Jolie's hinting at. That's not really good for Chivas. It doesn't set a good example because they're the people's team. Now they're becoming the people's with internet access.
Hey, but dude, how many people do you really think in the U.S. are gonna pay to have Chivas TV, and then
Jolie,
other generations, younger kids.
Mexico game?
How many of them? I've been to plenty. How many younger generations are gonna be willing to pay for it? Especially now that
how many people in LA
Telemundo recently showed the Manchester Derby for free.
You remember Chivas USA, the LA fan base that they had? I mean, the whole reason to even
right. Juan is going Chivas TV on us.
Dude.
Only is he a Pachuca fan?
What?
But he's
I'm professional, man.
he's
I
going.
just think it makes sense. Look, it's a smart move money wise. It's a smart move. We're gonna be able to have more money to build the team. Obviously, the internet is not perfect. It's not reliable. I mean, you just saw.
They're
I have
gonna
this
lose that
Bluetooth
LA
headset
fan
that
base, dude.
the mobile technology is not always. It's not
Well, see,
perfect.
you
They're
know,
gonna
if
lose
it works out for them,
the
the
US
great.
fan base. They're gonna use
That
it like
120,000 number is a bunch of hokey. That is a maybe half that if they're lucky.
Well, in a country of 100 million, dude, think about it. Like they all draw. Don't they fill up Azteca Stadium when they go to when they play?
Yeah, but that's because it's a clásico. That's because it's a clásico. Look, it's the only game that fills up the Omnilife.
It's
yeah,
like
but
My point is, okay, so they have a 45,000 seat stadium, right? In Guadalajara, if they have so many fans, it would be sold out. If they have 10,000 fans show up at a game, it's a miracle.
dude, they have more fans. They have more fans outside Guadalajara.
Hey, Juan, you seem to forget, John. You seem to
They have more fans outside Guadalajara than they do.
Juan, you seem
Essentially, because the problem now is that their fans. Well, what was I running? Go ahead. But the Chivas Omnilife Stadium is in the outskirts. It's in Zapopan, which is it's not easy. It's not easy access for the fans before.
Well, you know what? The Redskins Stadium in Washington has a 1 2-lane road in and 1 2-lane road out, and they somehow manage to get 90,000 people there every time they play a game.
Hey,
oh man!
So that is
you
a
seem to forget.
ridiculous.
You seem to forget that not even Manchester United filled up Omnilife. It took I don't know how many games before they sold out.
Their first sellout was America.
Exactly. So me la pelas, papá.
oh,
You know what? But Azteca's bigger. I mean,
Juan is in Higuera's payroll.
those guys are Spanish.
I'm waiting for him to start pitching us the drinks.
Yeah,
he already drank the Pachuca Kool-Aid.
I think
Dude,
you know that he obviously is on the Omnilife.
I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but I'm actually drinking a Tecate. You know, Tecate Light.
Well, I did have a Negra Modelo earlier.
If you guys look at Tom Marshall's, I think his Instagram account, he posted a picture of a guy outside a Chivas stadium without a shirt, with a Chivas tattoo on his chest, and he said he was scrapping for money to buy a ticket. You think that guy's going to have enough money to buy Chivas TV? And this is a fan outside of the stadium trying to get in and watch the game. So
he spent his weekly allowance on the bus right there.
Was his weekly allowance like
if he
18 pesos?
$5 or something.
If he had like a full Chivas tattoo on his chest, you gotta question his life choices, man. Come on.
Now check this out. Just look at that. This fan is dedicated. He wants to buy that Chivas subscription right there, man, or a ticket, whichever. So that right there, you guys need to help that guy out.
You want
watch a team.
For someone crying about wanting free guacamole and free other stuff, looking for handouts. I don't understand.
Oh.
He always wants handouts. I don't know why you expect Chiva fans to pay for stuff you want for free.
It's because the senator is a senator's new media, man. Joel, you and I are old media. Senator's new media.
Well, just look at that, man. That guy's a dedicated fan, man. He wants to be a fan. And
well, he's saying why on earth do I have to pay money to watch this team when for my entire life I've been able to turn on the television and watch it for free.
But you can still watch it for free. All the away games and in Chivas TV, they have some games up there, so you probably won't be able to watch it live.
Juan, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, Chivas is gonna lose their fan base in the U.S. Once Univision. No, but you're talking about Mexico. Different beast.
No.
Mexico's a different beast, man.
Chivas is basically Mexico Junior, you know.
Those young people are about to get a dose of reality.
So when they come to the U.S., dude, Mexico, they sell every stadium. They go to Texas, they sell. They go to Arizona, they sell. They go to Chicago,
Texas.
they sell.
Yes, but look what's going.
San Francisco, they sell.
I know, but look at the demographics. You're
those
talking
people,
about.
Chivas. That's what Chivas is gonna draw money from, dude.
Yes, but this is a demographic that in a few years, it's gonna be gone. Talking about 20 years from now. even like 10 years younger crowd.
See,
Younger
but
crowd's not going to care for it because we have a lot of football, huh?
type of tribulations are gonna weed out the non-fans, man. Trust me, man. Like, you don't want these fans anyway. That they just complain and bitch about, oh, it's too expensive. I don't want to go. If you're a fan, you're gonna do what that guy's doing, man. That's respectable. He's gonna beg and try to.
You don't want this guy like neglecting his eating
See,
lunch
but
and
that's
dinner.
the problem is that you're always going to get those fans. You want to grow beyond that. You want to make new fans. I mean, who is going to go? I mean, outside of the hardcore guys, who? I mean, what casual fan is going to pay
Well, that's
money
the point.
for that?
You're
They're just
gonna
not going to
weed
do
out-
it. They're not going to do
You're
it.
going to weed out the garbage fans, and you're going to get
That's
good
but
fans.
Vern, this is the thing.
Fernando, you need the garbage fans.
You need them for what? So they can get freebies? Come on, man.
Hey, for many years, if you were a young kid in the U.S., you basically only had Univision to see soccer.
There was
It was
one
pretty-
game a week. It was on
Yeah.
Sundays at noon, and that was it.
And it was like most likely you were getting either America or Chivas. That's what you were getting. So you grew up on that. So I mean, you can see why there are a lot of fans, a lot of fans for those teams, as opposed to the other teams that just their fan base died out. And you see it in Mexico. Big teams like Necaxa and Atlante and other traditional teams, their fan bases died out. They're not where they used to be. So I mean, I could expect that happening for Chivas here in the U.S., where you just have too many options. I said earlier, Telemundo, and it surprised me that they showed Manchester the Derby, and it was free. You woke up at 6:30, you could watch it.
Okay, Debbie Downer, but the thing about it is that what you are not seeing is that right now, Vergara and Higuera built an awesome team. They actually
What awesome
invested
team,
money.
dude.
They actually invested in such a good team that their bench is probably, former national team players,
Yes,
So
but I'm not talking about right now.
we're talking about right now because that's
5-10 years from
right
now.
They lost 2 in a row.
No, 5-10 years from now, man. Right now, because like
Right now, okay, so
right now
what
you
if
can
they
see
go-
Chivas games
what
on
if-
Univision. So
Okay,
you can
what if
follow
they
the team weekly.
What if they go on a Copa MX Campeonísimo run and they start kicking some serious ass? They're gonna grab more fans. That come on, dude. You're looking at it as the pessimist as possible. When what if they start winning because they have everything. They have a great squad. They have a
No, I'm not being
competent coach.
pessimist. I'm seeing how it's changed, and I told this story to John, and it's like when I was a kid, I was going to school, and you saw the other kids that were into soccer, and the talk would always be, are you a Chivas or are you America? You go to schools now with little kids.
Did you guys
They
ever
ask you if you're a Messi or Ronaldo fan. I don't know if you like Madrid or Barca.
Do you guys ever remember before the NBA pass and all those league passes, where if there was a local game, I remember in LA, because we had cable back then. It was I don't remember which one it was, but the point is that you couldn't watch the Raiders, you couldn't watch the Lakers, you couldn't watch the Dodgers until the home game was sold out. So if you wanted to watch the home game on TV, like me as a kid, if I wanted to watch let's say I wanted to watch the Dodger game, I couldn't watch it because the home game wasn't sold out. Same thing for the Raiders. Like the games would be blacked out. Now, did they lose fans because of that? I don't think so. I mean, as far as I was concerned, I was like, shit, I didn't get to watch it today. Maybe radio, I can listen to it on radio. And I think if QWAS is able to get more money right now in the short term, the revenue wise, if they were in the red, now they're in the black. Because of this internet TV deal, and now the team, they're able to build a stronger squad, which it looks like they've been able to. I mean, they brought in some fantastic players that Ronnie wishes
what happened to the Raiders?
Let me finish. So, because they're now going to be a more successful club, they're not in relegation. They have stability, financial stability. They have good players. They're still going to be popular. I mean, you're still going to have the fair weather fans that are being like, oh, I'm a Chivas fan. I got the limited edition Puma jersey. So
Joey,
Yes,
if if and when it does, I think it's perfectly fine to make
Well, is
money in
it
the
time to
short
take out
term.
the trash?
No, if it's making money in the short term, what's wrong with it? I mean, once it doesn't make money, then pull the plug and go back to TV. If it's actually making money, then I don't see what the issue is. I think it's probably smart.
Well, the thing is, people have a short attention span. So I mean, if you're going to be on the computer, chances are that you're not going to stay on the computer to watch the game for 2 hours because you're probably going to surf for porn. So I think,
for a lot of people watching Chivas, it's kind of like watching porn.
But I don't see how that's a loss for Chivas. If they spend money and then they go watch something else, it's like they spent it. That's what they want.
Well, see, essentially, you bring up porn.
It's like if you buy a burrito,
they're gonna have to make a choice
for porn now. Who pays?
When Fernando buys tacos with guacamole,
and do I spend for big chunky asses?
Tacos, I mean, nobody's upset. Like
it's like.
Ronnie, do you still pay for porn?
Come back for more tacos. He'll be hungry later. It's fine.
Do you still pay for porn?
No.
You had me worried there for a second.
No, I'm just saying. It's
worried. It boils down to, I mean, we'll never know, how much money, per year that Chivas would get for their TV contract with what they're getting. They've spent a lot more money recently, so maybe this is something that's working out for them. I mean, who knows? The reality is that we're never going to know, and the only way we would know is if they start having fire sales. Like if they don't win, and Gallito and Julit and all those guys that are on their bench, they start you seeing them, being shipped off to Chiapas and who were the partner team? What is it Querétaro? Is that Chivas' partner team? Where they send their.
I thought it was Pumas. We're
Please.
working on some deals to get a Tronco.
There were a lot of ex-Chivas players on Puebla last year, I think, if I recall.
They were all on Dorados. I mean, Dorados was like Chivas B.
And that was Nestor and Chepo's doing because they sent their reserve to Dorados, and then when they would play against them, these guys would give a little extra because they wanted to prove a point, and that cost Chivas some points.
We got to
possibly do it.
Yeah, that wasn't particularly good.
Caller from LA.
We got a caller. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Crap.
Hey, what's up?
Please identify yourself, sir.
This is Sergio. Serge 33, whatever.
Sergio,
Hey,
thank you for calling in. What's going on, dude?
Oh, nothing. You know what? You guys said you guys were taking drunken calls, so I guess I'd.
Yeah, only calls we take. If you are sober, Sergio, just go ahead and hang up the phone.
Oh,
right.
Well, I guess I shouldn't hang up then.
Tell us your thoughts on.
I have no idea what you guys were talking about.
Well, just tell us your thoughts on Nacho leaving.
What do you think about La Volpe?
La Volpe.
Yeah, he might be your new coach.
Oh, you know what, dude? I'm not paying attention. I don't want to talk to you. What was your?
Hey, Serge. Hey, man, don't drink and drive, all right, man?
Oh no. I'm home, dude. Yeah, I'm home.
Then crack open another. Thank you for calling. Did you have a question or comment, Sergio?
No. Somebody asked me about Nacho.
La Volpe.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to. What do you think?
I'm never okay with a kind of like mid-season firing of a coach. I mean, regardless of how poorly they've been doing, like, for me, that doesn't. I don't think that. I don't like it. I don't think America is going to do too well moving forward. If it's Mano, if it's some interim coach or whoever they get. I don't think it's a recipe for success, to be honest. Do I think they'll make the Liguilla? I mean, I think they're talented enough to make the Liguilla, but I mean, given what's happening, firing a coach kind of mid-season.
Sergio, do you think that that the decision was Peláez's, that it was his decision, or do you think he was told to fire him?
Peláez, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I'm just speculating at this point, but it's my understanding that Pelaez and him are pretty tight. So who knows? But
yeah, they were teammates for many years.
I guess publicly it has to be Pelaez that has to kind of make that call. So who knows if he was influenced by people above Pelaez? Who knows? But
what does your gut tell you?
My gut tells me we're not going to be champions this season.
Ouch! Ouch!
It's not going to happen. I mean,
that is
coaches.
That is so sad. I have to buy it. That's just breaks my heart.
That's the most beautiful feeling in the world.
You're saying it's not going to happen. Then.
Hey, you should play that for Dan right now because they're.
Hey, Serge, Fernando asked you about La Volpe. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but El Águila Mayor on the show, Ronnie, he's okay with La Volpe as a manager, even for Mexico, and I'm guessing Club America too, because he sat down. I guess during the World Cup 2006 and the aftermath.
They shared a cafe.
Yeah, I think they, maybe even they traded ties, and maybe a cigarette.
Swap spit.
I don't know about that. Because we were the laughing stock of the freaking league when La Volpe was America's coach. So, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. But
so negative, man.
I don't know. I mean, like how many teams have won a championship when they fired their manager this season? Like off the top of your heads, like I can't think of any.
Almeida. He won the Copa MX.
No mames. No mames.
No.
You know what? That's true though. You guys could win the next Copa MX with
Hijo de chingada, no mames, güey.
You guys could go on a Copa MX
Yeah, we'll do a double-decker celebration for the Copa MX.
Yeah, you should, man. You guys get to win something.
Was that just the most embarrassing thing you ever saw when Chivas they forced a parade? Copa MX. It reminded me of when Real Madrid was just getting skunked by Barcelona. They were just losing everything. They finally win the Copa del Rey, a trophy they never cared about before. And then they acted like they'd won the most important on the planet. Had a parade, and then they dropped it and got run over by the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sergio Ramos dropped it, didn't he?
Yep. So you're saying, Serge, that tú no vas a ir al Ángel when they win Copa MX, I believe, is what the sentiment that you are conveying with your thoughts on Copa MX.
I wish the Copa MX had a little bit more clout, but at the current time it kind of doesn't. If America were to win the Copa MX, would I be happy? I mean, of course, I want my team to win every single tournament that they're involved in, but do I feel they would need to throw some sort of parade for the Copa MX? Not exactly.
No, Serge. How badly are you afflicted with Americanismo? Are you the point where like you can name referees that have screwed America over the years, like in certain games?
No, not at all. No,
obviously that's never happened.
Sick.
That's just a conspiracy theory.
The referees are gonna make good calls, bad calls. Every team suffers or benefits from some sort of botch call. So I don't think America pays refs or that the refs somehow favor America.
And how did you become an America fan?
How? I was a kid since I was a child. I mean, I was born in Mexico City. The majority of my family were American.
Maybe he was your neighbor, John.
And did they become Americanistas before or after they were in prison?
Hey, Serge. This is Ronnie. Earlier you said that.
Villaraigosa Jr.
No, you said earlier you don't recall a team winning a championship after firing a coach. Should I remind you that America won a title after changing coaches in 87-88 when Cayetano was fired and Jorge Vieira came in to win the title, beating Pumas. And then obviously Vieira stayed the following season and won the title, beating Cruz Azul. So it has happened.
Yeah, it has. You know what, Ronnie? Thank you for reminding me. I was a child when that happened, so it has.
A lot of things to remind you about your child.
For reminding all of us.
Okay. Well, hey.
I was
Alberto Jorge, who also won with Toluca. You know, he took La Volpe's glory, his thunder.
Oh.
You know.
Oye, no te olvides que ese equipo lo hice yo. No se lo olvides. Ese equipo lo formé yo.
Kelly la podóloga, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
You're right. You know what, Ronnie? You're right. And it has happened before. Off the top of my drunken head, I can't think back to 1988, and I can't think back to last week. So
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
It's the only way.
Hey, Serge, you should.
Pro de 85, Serge. What do you think about it?
About what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Pro de 85.
Hey, it's official, isn't it? Isn't it official? I mean, the league recognizes it, so le arde el pinche culo a todos los demás.
Oh yeah, quick question. Has Nacho Ambrice's firing led you to be drinking tonight?
No, I was gonna drink today regardless.
Okay.
No le voy a discutir con usted.
Well, I'm glad that you're getting your drink on, man, because you're gonna need it. Because unless if they get La Volpe, then you guys are gonna have a great coach. And
what are you gonna do, Fernando, when that happens? I mean, talk about conflicted.
Hey, you know what? It's the same thing with Almeida. He made a fan out of me. So
you're a Chivas? Are you a Chivas fan or are you an Almeida fan?
Oh, absolutely Almeida.
Otro cambia rayas.
No, I'm still the Rayados fan.
When Tuca takes over the national team, Vergara fires Almeida because he tied twice in a row. Almeida, are you going to be an Almeida fan then?
Well, wait. If he goes to Tigres, I'll admire from afar. But if he changes the style that Tigres plays now, that's trash, and stops turning players into trash, then.
Okay. Interesting that we're bringing up. Well, that I brought up at least the national team. I do want to, and we're getting close to wrapping it up.
Ask Serge. Ask him what he thinks about Osorio.
Oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, so
jumping the gun here.
Y usted no me va a decir qué carajo.
I'm sorry, man. I'm like on my 10th beer now.
Anyway, so they have this big game, obviously, in Columbus, right? Before that, I mean, the dude has. I mean, he is on his at this point, as they say, which is a great saying that people don't understand it in this country. But I mean, shouldn't he just throw all la carne al asador and bring everybody in and see what he has? Through whatever vetos that the players have or whatever it is, bring in Giovanni and Jonathan and Carlos Vela, who scored a really good goal, by the way, today, and just say, you know what, man, I voy a jugar with these guys, the hell with it, and just not bring in the Dueñas and the Yasser and all these complete just awful players that that no coach would ever bring on a national team, and just see what he has and just throw them all out there and just do it. I mean, does this guy have the stones, the capacity to do that, or is he going to go, well, you know what, we got to have our rotations, and I've already got these guys coming in, and these are the ones that I'm comfortable with, and blah, blah, blah.
Necio already started to hint with his statement about Giovanni that he wants, or that they're getting desperate for him to come in.
The punishment's over, or
Well, his
like the desperation, the realization.
Wasn't it exiled though because Johnny pulled out of the CONCACAF Cup, right? Last year. Giovanni. Remember, Tuca was that's the game that those 2 games that Tuca coached, or was it 3? I know it was Argentina.
Did Giovanni really pull out, or did they say he pulled out?
Dude, he was photographed freaking jumping like 10 feet in the air, man. He got some serious airtime. So if you're telling me that he's injured and he's doing that, dude, what kind of injury did he get? Because I would like that injury too, you know.
Well, he played in the Galaxy game the very next week. So obviously, but my point is that there was obviously something there. As you guys have pointed out, they're desperate, and they're gonna. Heaven forbid that you're so desperate you got to call in, one of the top 3 players Mexico has. That move just reeks of desperation.
I don't think Osorio will do it, man, because he either way he's gonna how should I put this lightly, castrate himself. If he bends over and calls these guys up and he's feuding with them, it's like it doesn't matter. He's lost control of the locker room already. If he doesn't call them up and at least he went down, what's that guy's name? Sean, the guy you sing songs all the time. The guy he rose in Vegas, Frank Sinatra.
What about him?
Osorio's gonna be Frank Sinatra. Yeah. I don't know.
If that's the case, then it's obvious that they once again has hired a coach who was too unwilling to get off to he's gonna sacrifice his job and his players and everything else because this is the way I do things, and we're gonna have to do it this way. And if it doesn't work, well, damn it, we're gonna work on it until it does. I mean, that is the definition of insanity.
Look, John. Look at the U.S. Soccer what they did. What Klinsmann did. He didn't call up Landon Donovan for the World Cup in Brazil. Okay, this is a player that. Well, did it really cost them? Were they?
Yes.
I mean, what did you expect from them? What they went 3 and out?
Who would you rather have come in the bench in a 0-0 game in a round of 16 against a beatable team? Would you rather have an 18-year-old? I know the 18-year-old kid scored a goal, but would you rather have him coming off the bench? Besides the goal he scored, he threw his foot at it and it just happened to hit it. So for people to say that was a good goal, por favor. But
maybe it doesn't matter.
Have him?
I mean, if you look at the results, if you look at their history, it doesn't matter.
Hey, Juan, it would have mattered. Look, we can't say that Donovan would have that the U.S. would have won the game because
Ronnie, what did Risto say about when he saw Hugo Sanchez?
I'm with you. I'm going to give you. You're right, John, because this is what Landon Donovan would have done had he been there. He would have changed the opposition's coaches' tactics as to how to mark Donovan, which would have changed the tactics because Donovan, believe it or not, he is an elite player.
He's a choke artist.
No, he's an elite player.
Choke artist, dude. He has a history of missing open net goals.
That's a stretch, man.
That's a stretch, dude.
The evidence is evident, dude.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Shallow Hal, where George Costanza, where Jason Alexander's character is he's just unbelievably picky about girls and like.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Hey, the Beatles are going to reunite, and David Bowie's going to be there.
Hey, Serge, back me up.
And he doesn't like
Landon's a choke artist.
Back
me up,
second toe bigger than the first.
Wait, what? What's going on? Back you up on what?
No mames, Juan. Come on, dude.
Is that what you tell yourself after you watch 2002 replays?
Yeah, ask Torrado if he has bad finishing. Ask Conejo Perez.
Yeah, dude. He's
one game, man. These guys played out of their mind.
He's
sold out, dude. The word on
so Ronnie, what happened when Risto and the Bulgarians saw Hugo on the sideline in New York?
Their knees were shaking.
They were crapping their pants.
Yes, they were.
Because they knew what was coming in.
Yeah, he had to. He admitted that.
Stoichkov even said it.
Yeah, he said he had to calm his teammates. Yeah, he had to calm his teammates because they saw Hugo warming up and they were getting scared, nervous.
Muy triste, ¿no?
So yes,
John,
it does make a difference.
I just wanted to say one last thing on Osorio that you guys were saying. What you were talking about throwing in toda la carne al asador for the U.S. game.
He has no choice.
And no, but so I'm gonna say this quote I got from Menotti. So he says, Menotti said, "A coach has 3 undertakings: generate an idea of how the team will play, convince the players the idea will bring them results, and 3, find committed players so that when adversity arrives, they will not betray the idea." And I feel no matter who he puts.
Hey, but the fourth, you forgot the
unless he
fourth.
goes-
Have the military
No,
junta
no,
intimidate the visiting players.
No, but still, there is truth to that. and I think as far as like the established players have already betrayed the idea. Yeah, if I'm Osorio, I actually go with like the unknown players, the lesser known. I'll say lesser known players.
The thing, Jody, it looks like he's been trying to do number 3 and find the loyal players to the ideal, and so far he hasn't found.
Yeah, but that's his bet. I will give him a better odds of winning if he goes with some of the Chiva players and some of the other players that aren't not the Europeos.
Hey,
They're hungry.
I thought I should mention that in case Dan is still listening, that Santos just got wrecked 5-2, and sorry.
Damn, Fernando.
You, you're cool.
Yeah. It's hard. Put a goal past Tijuana, and now Piojo has a look in his eye like he don't know what's happening. Ceviche, I guess, is making a little comeback in the second half.
Well, we talk about players that are untested or haven't played with Osorio. Those brothers have played for Osorio, so those guys would be perfect.
Maybe we should call. Maybe he'll call up some of those Puebla guys that were with him, right? Or was it Leon?
No, he was at Puebla. Yeah, I can call.
Hey, speaking of Puebla, I got a
Villalpando.
I got a drama report for you guys that happened last night.
Is this an Instagram report?
No, this is a Twitter report from. Well, apparently, to give you some history, Fidel Curi, a long time ago, I guess ran into a beef with Carlos Albert because he took out the Veracruz team to some political thing, and Carlos Albert on some show got all mad at him, and they were arguing on the phone. Then later, of course, we know, I think on the show we talked about him assaulting Codesal in the palco and everything, like ruckus, and then we got a sound clip. There's a video out there of him talking to some journalist. And here he goes. Listen to this.
Hey, ¿le vas a Puebla o no? Este pinche poblano. Permíteme, somos amigos. El fútbol nos une. Pero nos dejaron con 10 hombres. No pasa nada. Bienvenido, Puebla. Nos vemos en Veracruz, papi. ¿Vale? Por eso te quiero. ¿Sabes por qué? Porque no tienes huevos, cabrón.
You see that, John? So that's the biggest bully that I've ever seen, and he was arguing on Twitter with Fightless and all kinds of crazy stuff. So check that out.
Hold on, what? I couldn't really make out what he said. What happened? Or what did he say?
He goes up to a guy. I don't know why he had some beef with some journalist. He goes up to him and he said, well, first of all, there's one of his homies was in the way, and he like moves him out of the way and says, "Quítate." And then he talks to the journalist and he's like, "Hey, you going for Puebla?" And then he's like, I like you. And you know why? Porque no tienes huevos, güey. He pretty much just insults the dude right there. And the guy's like, all, just taking it. And then he runs off laughing with all his friends. I posted the clip on the.
Oh, okay. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm starting to like this Cootie guy.
He's incredible, man. I thought he was banned from games too, but this guy's crazy. So just a little drama going on, and in the land.
So would you say that he's new money or old money?
What's his name?
Cudi.
He's a Romano, huh?
He's old. I mean, his son running the team, I think, now.
Yeah,
Veracruz is. Would you say he's old money or new money?
I don't know.
By the way he acts.
It's a trap. Exactly. It's a trap, dude. Hey, is Serge still on the air?
No,
Is he gone?
I think he left. Yeah, he left.
We weren't drunk enough for Serge, apparently.
I was gonna ask him if he had ever been to Estadio Azteca and if he had bought sopa couple noodles to see what the deal is.
Some sopitas.
If the couple noodles are hot or if they're.
I think he got mad at me.
Estadio Azteca, you have some sopa? Did you have a little abuelita make
there,
some
man.
sopa at Estadio Azteca?
It's on my to-do list, but they didn't sell any at the pyramid, so when we went.
Do they sell sopa at Pachuca, or is it just Kool-Aid?
They don't sell the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid is free, man.
I see. Well, I think it's time for us to wrap it up.
Yep.
Excellent edition there. In year two of the 2-0 we had tonight. Thank you to everybody that participated. I see that the Daniel and Joel have fallen off. Thank them for joining us. Chiquis, as always, a pleasure for hooking this whole thing up for us.
Yeah, good times.
Keep an eye out for the Veracruz owner, see if he continues to act the way he does. Fernando, congratulations on the big win. I'm glad that, at least for your sake, that Monterrey is back on the winning track, that you won't have to hear the sad music at least for another week or so. So congratulations on that. Juan, I'm glad you were able to make it, even though you had audio issues. We appreciate you joining us. Keep up the good work. And if, hypothetically speaking, when Chivas plays Pachuca, who are you going to root for?
Look, let me just answer. Landon Donovan, he's the big Mexico slayer, but when it was in Mexico, he's a choke artist. Just so it's on the record. That's the point of my opinion. I think I like the way Almeida, his approach to the game. I want to see him succeed with Chivas and maybe go on to bigger things down the line and maybe
coach Pachuca one day.
Yeah, or even Club America. I'm sure they're looking for an answer.
Well, I hear they're looking for a coach.
Well, you know what? If the rumor is Peláez didn't want to fire Nacho. So if they went, if they basically just what's that phrase called? Echaron de cabeza a Peláez. I think he should. The best thing to do, if I were him, is just resign and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a part of this circus. I'm out.
Could be. Well, that's the same thing that you were saying, Ronnie. You were saying that it wasn't Peláez's decision. So we'll see. Who's your top choice? Who do you want?
Me? If it was me, it'd be Gopon.
You got 20 seconds.
You know what? At this point, I would go with La Volpe.
All right.
Well, I said records for
Ricardo La Volpe. Right.
Yeah, because Reynoso. One of the things that Reynoso.
Chance.
No, he had his chance, but look, when he says things like, I'd rather lose 5-4 than to win 1-0. You can't do that. You have to have some sort of balance. You know what I mean? And soccer's no exception, dude. Goals obviously put people in the stands, but defense wins championships.
Yep.
And
which is why
you want the Puente.
Look at how good Tuca's done his entire career, playing the same style that he played 25 years ago, and the dude has never been fired because he gets when that championship is just consistent.
He believes in balance, and La Puente was the same thing. And I've always told people this. They said that he's a very defensive coach, but when it's all said and done, in the national team, the World Cup, his team scored the most goals. Because why? Because he was balanced, you know. And in this particular case, you know, I think America needs to go back to not the bunker, but more so the cat and mouse, like what Piojo was doing, and obviously, La Volpe knows how to play that style as well.
But isn't La Volpe more he likes the offensive end of it, and he's more willing to, go toe to toe.
Obviously,
the problem with La Volpe is that he won't have a spot for Sambuesa porque los 10 no le caben en mi sistema. No funciona.
Well, he had Pardo. I mean, he was using Pardo as a playmaker. That's why then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that they would respond well with La Volpe right now, because a lot of these, I think they would respond well.
How good looking are the masseuses that America? Are they?
I don't know. But I will say this. I will say, if this was in the summer, or even the winter, and America was looking for a new coach. In fact, I actually tweeted a couple, months back. And I tweeted to Jorge Almiron from over there from Lanús in Argentina, because I told you I watched the Argent League here, and obviously Almiron, he's someone that played in Mexico, and he won with Lanús and stuff like that. I would have probably gone after him, because to win the Argentine League with a smaller team, that speaks well. So
I would love to see them go after Pellegrini. He's available right now. He'd be a great hire.
You know what? Honestly, Pellegrini. You know what? If Bianchi was available, if Pellegrini was available, you know what? Those type of coaches, I don't think they have the piss and fire in their eyes to really, reach down and start looking at the youth. And I think if you were to get a coach like a Jorge Almiron, who really wants to make a name for himself in international football, and perhaps even go off to Europe after the fact, I think that what, even El Capi Beltran, I mean, I know that he recently got his coaching gig, his coaching credentials. I mean, I know he's from Pumas, but there's a reason why.
Well, they would be guaranteed to win if that happened.
What's that?
Guaranteed to win if that happened.
You know what? But I'm just saying, Capi always seemed like a very smart player to me. Always well, spoken, disciplined. So I don't see why they're not giving him a chance to coach. But not for more than anything for the centennial year. I think that they probably should have gone after Jorge Almiron maybe before season. If they knew that I think Pelé should have known that Nacho wasn't going to make it this year, because the press was already calling for his head after last season. Let's be real about it.
That's the only way we are on the show is we keep it real about everything. So
yeah.
So
hey, Ronnie.
So what
about Vucetich, man?
You know what? No, I don't. He's a great coach. I still think out of the old guard, and when I say old guard, I'm the old guard are coaches like Vucetich, Tuca, La Fuente, La Volpe. I think no, he's not the old guard still.
If La Volpe becomes America's coach, are you going to grow a La Volpe mustache?
I've actually last year I actually sported a mustache for a while.
Yeah, but a La Volpe mustache, like a big caterpillar.
No, I did. It was more like a Hulk Hogan type of mustache.
Yeah. So I think you're going to do it. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll wrap it up here on the 2-0 Football Podcast.
But hey, John. One thing.
Better, you got 20 seconds, dude. I'm trying to button up the show with the music. So what you got?
With Ruben Romano, one thing that I do, he was coaching when Cañedo was there, and one thing that, although he did really bad with the team, I always respected the fact that when Cañedo was fired. When Cañedo was fired, Romano had the decency to say, you know what, he's the one that brought me in. I'll lead with him. Because he wasn't fired. Romano wasn't fired, but he had the
Yeah, but
decency
Romano,
to-
I mean, dude, how many teams? What is he? Is he like on his 19th team? I mean, why don't they just go ahead and bring in a Flaco Tena? You know,
No, but what
they're
I'm
gonna bring in
saying is
Romano.
he could have easily stayed. He could have easily stayed, you know, and stuff like that. But I think, you know,
I wonder
Romano.
when you say this, oh well, America's looking at Ruben no matter. Of course, I mean, I'm sure the agent plants that, right? So that's like so they can get his name out there. So I'm guessing that the reality is that they're not calling him at all. But they just want people's name out there so that fires a coach. Oh, we know if America's talked to him, maybe we need to talk to him first, and they jump in and catch it. You know, if America was smart, and it looks like they're actually going to take their time with this. They'll probably get a coach like Ronnie was saying. You know, maybe not the guy from Lanús, but maybe somebody of that ilk.
Yeah.
Say it's not something that they're gonna. I mean, and the reality is that you know they're gonna make the Liguilla. They're gonna be just fine. You know, make it to the semifinals, maybe even make the final. Who knows?
Hey,
But
John,
they need
what
to
do you
get a decent coach in place for their Club World Cup so that they don't lose to the Asian team in the first round.
What do you think of this? What if they go after Chiqui Dracula? Because Chiqui Dracula could come in and he can call in favors from, you know, hey, he can network, you know. I'm just saying.
It would be a brilliant move. It would be absolutely brilliant. And then every time that they get a good call, the animosity that would go up toward America would be at like an exponential levels. It would be impressive. It would be impressive.
Then maybe they could.
I think that they should get the special because the special one's going to get fired from Manchester United, so they should just go ahead and get the special one. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up now. So no more questions, no more comments. Thank you guys for joining us on the 2-0 Football Podcast, a special Jornada Doble edition where we saw some good games. My Pumas won tonight, which everyone, at least, well, I'm happy about. But thank you guys for joining us. We're live on the YouTube every Wednesday night around 9:30 or so Central Time. And then, of course, you can listen to this podcast and all of our previous editions. You can download them at the iTunes page
¡Arriba los Rayados!
for your iTunes app. So thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll talk to you guys next week on the 2-0 Football Podcast. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Take a show, guys. Have a good night.